is Golic and Wingo. For Tuesday, January 21st.
Somebody say Dame time. Dame brings it up. Crossover. Free for the tie. Got it! A new career high with 11 threes made by Damian Lillard.
Damian Lillard went off franchise record 61 points in a rematch of the Western Conference Finals last year.
Where now both teams are washed. Fireball.
He's 61 of the most points scored against the Warriors since Wilt Chamberlain at 62.
He's running a game.
Damian Lillard set a franchise record for points, a MLK Day record for points, and also in an oddly specific stat, set a record for most points by a player in the NBA 6 feet 2 or shorter.
The flamethrower is coming out, gang. Fireball.
Flamethrower. Glad you're with us. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio, ESPN News?
Is it news?
Anyway, it is.
No.
We are presented by Progressive Insurance.
Okay.
All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Golic Jr., Trey Wingo here as we want to get through this week.
We do.
That's sort of where we are on the sports calendar. Just looking to get through this week, to get through the Pro Bowl and get to the Super Bowl.
Speak for yourself. Some of us are still recovering from the national title in New Orleans, and now you just want to ship me off to the Super Bowl in Miami?
You don't want to go?
Do you know what my body goes through during these
So you're
trips?
saying you don't want to go?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm just saying I need
I
all
wanna
of
be
the
clear.
recovery time in the middle.
You're young-ish.
Yeah, you should be able to handle
You're on the
this.
ish side of young now. How do you feel about that?
That's what I'm figuring out. Like, on the normal young side of young, I wasn't hungover for 4 days.
I don't think
that wasn't real.
That was the beignets more than anything else.
Yeah, well, beignet.
You ate a ton. I imagine you stepped
Pastry and alcohol.
It'd be
hangover.
like that sometimes.
It's a very full feeling.
So we got a lot to get to today. We're going to have some interesting guests coming up. Darren Orlovsky will join us in a little bit to talk quarterbacks. I don't know what he has to say about that, but we had an interesting quarterback discussion.
We did. How about some of the discussion that was going on yesterday? Is Patrick Mahomes the greatest quarterback of all time? I'm like, gang, I know you guys love him, but he's been a 2-year starter. Can at least we agree to pull the reins on that one before you're putting him on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks?
I'm drawing the outline on the mountain
Please?
right now.
I got the chisel
you guys,
out.
Come on.
I'm sharpening the tools.
I couldn't believe we were having that discussion yesterday. People were having. I'm like,
Again,
wait a minute.
We got a week before we get there. This is the
it
week
gets
for all of
something,
it.
doesn't it?
This
Yeah.
is the week for all of it.
I mean, he might be.
Oh, my. I'm sorry I brought it up.
No, that's the appropriate way to look at it. He's on a trend where he could get there.
But he's not right now.
You know what?
Okay.
Maybe.
But he will be.
Oh, God. Okay. You know what? I'm sorry I brought it up.
This is on you. This is on you.
Can we go to a guy that has a legitimate claim to be the GOAT?
You're afraid to have the conversation, huh? That's sad.
No, I had the conversation.
No, that's fine. Listen, I get it. You're afraid to debate me.
And it's over. It's over, son.
Oh,
You're my son. Look up. Whose roof is
Did
this?
you just say you're afraid to debate me?
Yeah.
This is not real comfortable radio. That's
Listen,
3 to 6 with Will Kane.
Don't be afraid.
Come on.
We have a monopoly on the truth. We got a truth flamethrower over here, a truth train. The truth train, the truth monopoly.
You know what?
What's everyone doing with the truth around here? What am I peddling? Oh, you know what? I didn't make those things up, and you know that.
Think of me as autocorrect on your speak to text. That's just, I'm autocorrect. We're just going to get you back where you need to be.
So you're the feds.
You guys.
Yes, very much so.
Listening in.
So we got a lot to get to, including what happened last night. The Lakers, who are still dealing with a sore tushy from Anthony Davis, absolutely got their tushies hammered.
But he played. He played like 22 minutes, still kind of a minutes thing. Only had 9 points, but yeah, they got smoked. This was one of those, even LeBron said after, man. Sometimes you eat the bear, sometimes the bear eats you.
Yeah,
you know,
139-107, the Celtics beat them. By the way, I mean, the margin of victory is what's really interesting here. That was the largest margin of victory between these two in 50 years. I think it was 35 points in March of 1969 was a larger margin than the 32 points last night. But absolutely nothing was working last night for LeBron and company, and everything was working for the Lakers.
I think the best part of this game, to me anyway, in a blowout like this, you start to look for side stories, and it was Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown got a legitimate dunk on LeBron James, legit dunk. And it was something that he even said, I ain't going to lie, it was pretty nice. It was pretty awesome. Then he was asked if dunking on James had been on his bucket list. He smiled and said, again, I ain't going to lie, yeah, it was. So, I mean, that's to have that on your bucket list, to play against a guy that you want to dunk on, to have that and to be able to do that. Again, it was a legitimate getting dunked on. LeBron came to meet him right under the hoop and tried to go up right with him, and Jalen just skied over him and dunked.
In many ways, while it was awesome for Jalen, that's really kind of a compliment to LeBron, isn't it? I mean, like, if you're the one guy that you want to have dunked on, that tells you what you think of that guy.
Yeah. Well, think about how young all these kids are compared to him. Like, he's the guy. He's the Jordan they grew up watching. So this is all relative in this. You guys really want to get to the T on this, though. The Lakers lost there. Like you said, dropping the bucket.
Oh, really quick, by the way, Jaylen Brown, after the dunk, stared down LeBron and got teed up.
That's the other thing. We need to ban technicals for stare downs
Agreed.
after dunks.
Completely
If
agree.
you dunk on someone, you should be it should be in like whatever version of the NBA's Geneva Convention is.
5 seconds to stare.
You get a 5 second
5
stare
second
window.
stare. I agree.
You get to do whatever you want in that.
Because you just did
Boy,
the work.
Five is a long time. Like right now, 1,
It's okay.
2,
It's okay.
3.
It's meaningful.
But you're also,
you're also backing away. Going
Yeah, you're doing that
Well, it's like
back
everything
the
in the
court.
NBA. Like when they both the fight, they're always throwing punches backwards.
That's it.
Yeah.
5 seconds. You did the work. You put in the work, man. Get the time to gloat a little bit.
So 5 second stare downs, we're instituting that. But here's the other part of this. Because again, the Lakers, we're into January and we haven't had a LeBron James meltdown. So I'm starting to get a little bit concerned. But the Lakers are one of the teams now showing interest as we're like 2 weeks from the trade deadline.
Yes, they are.
Derrick Rose.
Yep. Oh.
Derrick Rose being back in the NBA picture in a significant ways, averaging 18.3 points per game and 5.9 assists per game right now, playing the best ball he's had really, I mean, since he got back into the league after, I don't know, since any real stretch of time post when Derrick Rose was an MVP and went through all those injuries. To see him on a contender down the stretch of the season and to see the way he's worked himself back into being a highly competitive NBA player is wild. Like, we all know what that MVP award did to the Derrick Rose's expectation. Obviously, the injuries derailed, but how cool would it be to see him and Dwight Howard playing meaningful basketball for a good team in 2020?
So
what a
He's
world.
amazing.
Here's
he
where we are, right?
Scorer in Detroit right now. It is something, man.
To your point about there hasn't been a meltdown yet, it seems like all season long, outside of the self-motivation for LeBron with the hashtag Wash King, which no one was saying except he decided to adopt it. But again, whatever you need,
you find a way to put a chip on your shoulder.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Here was LeBron after the game basically saying, it happens.
I was on the complete opposite end of the floor. I did see.
Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Hold on.
I mean, listen, it was just a good old-fashioned butt whooping. That's all. They beat us on all facets of the game, from the outside, the interior, points off turnovers, and offensive rebounds was the main ingredients to this L.
So he's like rolling along.
Oh,
What happens,
I mean,
man?
in the middle of the season, I'm sure you'll understand that these things happen, especially when your lineup's a little jumbled because AD not only comes back but gets a couple of fouls early, gets off there, and so man, eyes on the future because reportedly everybody but LeBron James and AD is potentially on the table when it comes to what they would give up for Derrick Rose. So we're in another year where it gets pretty uncomfortable if you are not one of those guys in the Lakers locker room. And if I'm them, I mean, who the hell cares? I think the Sixers are one of the other names that were interested potentially in Derrick Rose. So that one's going to be interesting as we look now and try and get ourselves ready for 2 weeks from now and see, all right, who's going to make a move that potentially kind of shifts the balance of power
who
here.
else we're talking about? 76ers, I believe, talking about potentially
Well,
looking for
that's
Derrick
what
Rose.
makes this interesting. I think we know who's going to be coming out of the West. I think someone who calls the Staples Center home is more than likely going to be representing the Western Conference in the NBA Finals, right? We feel pretty comfortable with that, do we?
Listen, you look at a team like, Denver, Utah. Are they going to jump in there and maybe, I think.
Are we buying Denver stock after last year?
The collective world does not want that unless you're a Denver or Utah
I'm
fan.
not even saying about want it, but I'm just saying after last year we went through. We kind of, you know what? That's the unfortunate position that Denver's in because obviously, again, they're a Western team, a Western-based team, so it's always difficult for people to watch their games consistently. But they've been, up near the 2 spot. They were 1-2 all last year. Yeah. And then, all right, when it counted, nothing really happened. And so now we're kind of back to, all right, show us some. We're back to the Stu Gatz mantra of do it in the postseason, and then I will take your regular season exploit seriously.
The reason I say this is because it sure seems like the East is much more fun this year. With Milwaukee, Miami out of nowhere, Toronto hanging in there despite the fact that they don't have Kawhi anymore. And then you have the Celtics at 4 and the Sixers at 5. It just seems like the fun part of getting there is going to be on the Eastern Conference this year.
I mean, you look at
it's a battle.
It's fun after 1 because Miami is 2 and they're 8 behind Milwaukee. Milwaukee's running away with this. Where you look in the West, the Lakers obviously are leading, and then the Nuggets, the Jazz, and the Clippers are all 4 back. Mavericks are 6.5, Houston 7.5, Oklahoma City 9.5. So it's all pretty tight there as well. for the battles like after one. It's closer in the Western Conference after one than it is in the East. But and let's just say it this way. It's more wide open than we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
A LeBron James team in the East and Golden State in the West.
Yeah.
Now, listen, it looks like Milwaukee and the Lakers, but there are certainly other teams involved in this.
No question. And I think when we get towards the stretch run of the season, it's going to be a very, very interesting thing the way these things shake out. Golic and Wingo presented by Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, homes, boats, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. All right, coming up, he was just standing there or sitting there when Stephen A. said the Alex Smith thing. We'll get his reaction to what was all like to witness it. That's next. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
This show and all of ESPN is streaming live on the ESPN app, featuring ESPN Plus, the streaming service powered by ESPN. From live events to original programming, download the ESPN app and sign up for ESPN Plus today.